Assalamualaikum, Clayton.
Walaikum salam.
How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for doing this interview at
Yeah, no
such
problem.
such short notice. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
no problem. No problem.
This interview is very much fluid where you want to take it. It's basically just your story of how you um, embraced Islam and what attracted you to Islam. But just to get us started, if you can give me some context as to your background, like where you grew up, and like what you do now in life.
Okay, so I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised.
Me too.
Oh,
Crazy.
nice.
Wait. Okay, where'd you go for high school?
I went to MUS.
Nice.
How about you?
Very cool. I went to PBS, Pleasant View School.
Oh, okay. I've never heard
Islamic
of that.
school.
I thought you
Yeah,
said,
usually nobody hears about it,
yeah.
but yeah.
I thought you
But
said
there's a
PBS was
pipeline.
yours.
There's a huge pipeline of like PBS boys going to MUS.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When
Yeah.
did you graduate?
2016.
Cool. I graduated 2018.
Oh, okay.
But you now currently live in Maryland.
Right. Um, I went to the Naval Academy, and once I graduated, I got stationed at Fort Meade. So I just stayed in the area. So I'm still like 30 minutes away from the Naval Academy and 20 minutes away from Fort Meade. So that's why I'm in this area. Um,
Got you. Got you.
and I was in the Navy for about 4 years, and then I was medically retired, and now I'm in between leaving the Navy and finding my next thing, whatever that is.
May Allah make it easy on you and
Thank you.
give you peace and all of the things that you need.
Yes.
Very cool. So if you could just like kind of give me like start off with your story of like when did you start when did you start looking into Islam, and what was attractive to you about it?
Okay. So at the Naval Academy, well, I grew up Christian. I would say a very lukewarm Christian. And at the Naval Academy, our Sundays, where we usually would go to church, they were more focused on preparing for the week, catching up on homework and stuff like that. So once I graduated, my roommate and I we started to go to church, a different church every Sunday. And since we went to different churches, we were hearing different things. And that started to get me interested in what else was out there other than Christianity. We have these, we're living with our sponsor parents. We didn't know that the whole time they were Mormons. So eventually we went to church with them, and they were trying to get us involved with that. But at the same time, I was starting to read a lot. So I read the autobiography of Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, and that got me really interested in Islam. So that's when I started to.
What year was this? Sorry to
This
cut you off.
was this was the fall of 2022.
Fall of 2022.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just graduated
Hmm.
and you're living with your foster parents who are Mormon, and you're going to church on the weekends, different churches, and like hearing different things, and then
Right.
starting your own journey of like understanding like what makes sense, what is aligning with your heart.
Right.
So when does like Islam play a role? So you read Malcolm X, and what's your impression?
I haven't read it in a while, but I remember feeling like he was talking to me in the book, because he was also, I mean, the things he was going through, I wasn't going through, but the way he described it, I could resonate with. So I don't remember the specific lines in the book, but I definitely felt what he was saying.
And it pushed you to like look into Islam,
Right.
or okay.
Or what were you gonna say?
Well, I was saying it's like so it pushed you to look into like Sunni mainstream Islam as a religion, or it was more of like admiration for him as a like black nationalist leader, like was it more yeah, so I'm trying to understand like the connection of like where Islam was like something that you thought you would want to revert to.
Okay, so there was the admiration, of course, but since I was already kind of, I guess, in the process of being introduced into the Mormon church, they were, I was just already in that mindset of, oh, this is something I could do too. And I didn't really know anything about Islam or Muslims. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. I just associated that religion with the Arab world. Yeah, that's about it.
And did you know any Muslims growing up?
No, not at all. Or at least
Oh,
I didn't know
wow.
they were Muslim.
Um, yeah, I think this is a really powerful point that, like, for a long time, like, Islam is just considered like an Arab religion or like a foreign entity, but it's not something unique to like Americans or not something that people can consider that they can be part of it.
Right.
At this point, you are introduced to Islam through Malcolm X, but you still don't really know any Muslims.
Right.
So what happens afterwards? And this is like post-COVID, but also pre-Gaza genocide. And yeah. So what happens after this interaction with Malcolm X?
After this, I was still pretty involved with going to the Mormon church. I just didn't know. What I wanted to do, and they kept inviting me to dinner. Not that I didn't want to go, but yeah, we were going to dinner with them, and they were asking. I was telling them what I was thinking about becoming Mormon, but also about becoming a Muslim, and they asked me if I had a community within Islam, and I told them no. It was just something I was trying to read up on and figure out if my values aligned with it. And they made a point that I had a community within the Mormon church already, so it would make sense for me to join that church. But I knew that if I joined the Muslim community, I would find that.
Sorry, wait. You said that you knew that if you joined the Muslim community, you would
find
a
my community, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Just based off of what I was hearing, I was watching a lot of videos. And I think that year I did Ramadan, and I wanted to do it the right way, so I did all the prayers, and I did, not all of the prayers, I did about 3 prayers a day, and I was fasting.
This is in 2023?
This was, right, the Ramadan in 2023, yeah.
And you're still in Maryland at this time?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So you're like torn between two. Like you have the family you live with who is Mormon, and you're going to church with them, and they're like trying to pursue you to convert. But then you're also. So do you know any Muslims at this point? Like,
I do.
there?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about like who did you meet and how was that?
So the first person I met, we worked in the Navy together. I didn't know he was Muslim. He is from Pakistan, and we had an event where all of the officers just met up, and there was a bunch of food and games, and I noticed he wasn't eating, and it was during Ramadan. So I asked him if he was fasting, and then we found out we were both Muslim, and then I hadn't really interacted with him before, but once I told him I was Muslim, he was just, it was like I had a best friend at this point. He was just a whole completely different person in the best way.
I love that. MashaAllah.
Yeah, it was nice. He gave me a prayer mat. He took me out to dinner that night. Yeah. And then
Love.
also at the Naval Academy, there was a woman that worked in I guess, the cafeteria.
Mm,
During the COVID pandemic, everyone was at home, but the international students that went to the academy they didn't have a home to go to, so they stayed
mm,
at the Naval Academy. So I got really close with her. Eventually, once we graduated, I started going over her house as well, and their family is Muslim as well. So I got close
mm.
with her son and started talking to her son about Islam, and he gave me a prayer mat, and he started explaining a bunch of things about Islam that I had no idea. And that was another
Mm.
person I had on my team. And I didn't go to the mosque to take my shahada. I did it in their dining room with him.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. When did you take your shahada?
I think it was 2024. I don't I don't really remember the day. I can picture
Mm,
it in my head, but the date I don't remember.
no worries. Do you remember the month?
I can look it up. I remember taking a picture on my phone, and I think that date is saved with the picture.
That would be that would be great.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Ramadan of 2023, which is like in April or May,
Mm-hmm.
you are fasting and you have um wait, are you at the Naval Academy at this point?
No,
Still?
I'm
Or are
working.
you
I'm working in the Navy at Fort Meade.
you're working in the Navy? Okay. And so you meet a fellow Muslim
Right.
who's also fasting, and
Yes.
then you also meet a Muslim who works at the Navy as well, who takes you into her home, and you meet her family. So you generally are starting to interact with Muslims, and they're having you could say it like a positive impression on you,
Right. Exactly.
and kind of supporting you. And then how do you make the decision that you want to be Muslim and not Mormon as like the people that you're living with?
Well, they were just. It turned really bad. They were just very pushy about it. Um, Not the family that I was living with, but there is another family that
Mm,
was, I guess, kind of in charge of that region for the church,
mm,
and
mm,
they started inviting me to dinner. They wanted me to date their daughter, but she wasn't very interested, and they just kept pushing me towards it. So I just had to distance myself from the situation. And then
mm.
I just didn't want to be a part of that in general.
Yeah. It felt like it was like coerced. You were being coerced to an
Right,
extent and like pushed to do something you weren't comfortable doing.
exactly.
Um, you mentioned that you were watching a lot of videos at this point.
Hmm.
Uh, what videos are you watching? Also, at this point, did the genocide in Gaza begin already? And like, were you kind of aware of it or conscious of it at all?
I was aware of it, yes, but to answer your question about the videos, it was mostly videos. A YouTuber named Sneeko. I was watching his videos. Um,
Mm,
he would he was doing. Do you know what live streaming is?
yeah.
So he would do that with. I don't know how they were getting internet, but 14, 16-year-olds in
Mm,
Gaza, and he was just talking to them about how they keep their faith going through something like this, and
mm,
just the willpower they showed in those live streams made the problems that I was dealing with seem minuscule to what they were facing.
mm, mm,
So I was already convinced to become. I remember being already convinced to become a Muslim, but watching videos like this would just strengthen my decision.
mm. What convinced you? So, like, you said that maybe mentally, like, your mind was convinced that Islam was the truth. what was it that convinced you specifically? Or not specifically, but like generally, like what made you feel like this is the right religion?
I think it was the fact that people around the world put so much respect and faith into this religion. And I had
Mm-hmm.
also I was a Christian before, and I knew how that operated. And I was very, not to say that there aren't devout Christians,
Mm-hmm.
it was just that my experience was very lukewarm. There wasn't much,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better word, respect on the religion and the customs and practices like there is with Islam.
Mm.
And I think it was mostly the respect that people showed to the religion that convinced me.
Mm. And at this point, what is your interaction with like the community? Who are like the Muslims that you are around? Are you like at the masjid? Do you have like a group of friends that are Muslim that you're like learning Islam from, or it's something that you're doing on your own, like online?
I would say at this point, I'm still learning online, but there, I was teaching swim lessons at Lifetime for a while, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
guy from Egypt that came, and he
Mm-hmm.
was Muslim as well. So once we found out that we were Muslim, he started teaching me things that I had no idea about, and he started asking me questions like, "Do you know Surah Al Fatiha?" And I said it to the best of my ability, and then he would correct me on stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
he was um, opening. He had to open the pool sometimes, so I would go in there and pray with him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go to the mosque that he would go to, just to be. I would go to the mosque by myself, but I just didn't know anyone, and I'm not very extroverted, so I didn't really have a community or a friend group at the mosque. So I would go to the mosque with him, and we
Mm-hmm.
would go to Juma together.
Mm. Alhamdulillah. And what else? So what else was like helping you kind of in your journey? So you mentioned that he was there. What were you like looking at online that helped? Were you using TikTok at all, or like anything on social media that was like supporting your reversion?
Yeah, so there were a bunch of my algorithm just shifted to a bunch of Islamic content, and
Mm.
it just drew in my attention. Um,
Mm.
I can so today I watch on YouTube. I watch Aki Ayman, Muhammad
Mm.
Hijab, Sheikh Uthman, um, and there was another video, I guess live stream that Sneeko did. He was traveling a lot during this. I forgot which Ramadan, but it was during Ramadan. He went to Medina. He went to Mecca during Ramadan, and just seeing those places and seeing him pray in the mosque with all the people around, it was just, it felt like I was there, and it felt,
Mm.
I don't know, it just felt like I was a part of the religion and what he was doing. Just being able to
Mm.
watch through that live stream.
Mm. Do you feel like now you have more of a community? I'm not answering this. I'm not asking this question like for like a yes answer. Like you
Oh,
could
okay.
also please be very honest. But like, what were your expectations, and like, were they met?
Well, my expectations with what?
Like with Islam, your impressions that like this religion is a religion that emphasizes brotherhood and sisterhood and equality between people, and there's respect, as you mentioned. People extend their respect to all. Uh, did you feel this way like when you did convert and you were, um I guess, did you feel like you were part of a community that valued you and that respected you?
Mm. Yes, I did. And I think Islam exceeded my expectations. There would be,
Mm.
there were multiple situations where I would either introduce myself to someone or they didn't know anything about me, they just liked me. And then
Mm.
they found out that I was Muslim, and then their respect for me or their trust for me just grew instantly just because I told them I was Muslim.
Mm.
And I didn't expect that because with Christianity, almost everyone was a Christian, so it wasn't really something special that bonded people together. At least it wasn't on the level that Islam was with that, in my experience.
Mm.
And witnessing that and being a part of that was it solidified my faith.
Mm. Got you. What are the biggest differences in your life now compared to when you were a Christian?
Well, part of it is just I was much younger when I was Christian, so the things that I'm thinking about now are different.
Mm.
Um, so the differences, I would say my outlook on life. Growing up as a Christian, I didn't really know much about any other part of the world except North America. So
Mm.
now I think a part of it was Islam, but a part of it was learning French. My worldview just opened up dramatically.
Mm.
I was taking French lessons online from a girl in Algeria, and she was Muslim as well, and she was teaching me things about how marriage works and how you're supposed
Mm.
to talk to their father and stuff like that. Um,
Mm.
so now I'm thinking about how I would operate that whole process, the things
Mm.
I need to do to prepare myself for that, and the person I need to become to be ready for that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so, and with Christianity, it seemed a lot more chaotic. This seems like a plan that God has set up and
Mm.
that people have followed and it works. Um, yeah, those are the things I think about now.
I love that. Yeah. It's like it gives you direction. I think a lot of us we don't like we want to be told like what to do to live a
Right.
good life. Like
Yes.
what is the steps as opposed to us like trying everything and like going through a lot of pain through the process.
Right.
And there's still a lot of pain in
Yeah.
even in knowing what to do.
Right.
Okay. Very cool. I want to go back to the point about Gaza. So, do you feel that Gaza played any role in your journey to Islam?
What is
I
that?
know you mentioned like watching the live streams and like watching people, young kids from Gaza, handle what they were going through with like so much more faith than any of us could have. But I guess um like what else were you consuming? What when you look back at your like conversion, like do you consider Gaza as a factor or do you consider more it was like your personal journey that led you and Gaza just like played, it was contextual.
There was a lot of videos on social media at the time about the genocide in Gaza. So
Mm.
I didn't know if it was just my algorithm feeding me all of these videos or if it was just a big story that was being pushed out to everyone.
Mm.
So I was consuming a lot of it.
Mm.
It was, I think it did play a role because it showed me that although that these people were Muslim and they believed in God and they they had the faith. It didn't mean that they weren't going to be tested. And
Mm.
I had a little bit of that, um, questioning, not questioning, just I guess nervousness or being afraid that if this was the right thing. And part of that was living an easier life, directed and guided life. And my assumption in that was that I wouldn't have to go through more struggle. But seeing that these were Muslims going through the worst struggle ever,
Mm.
it showed me that I wouldn't be exempt from being tested.
Mm.
And a part of that scared me
Mm.
because I imagined myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
But then watching all of the videos about how they were still remaining faithful, um,
Mm.
praying for each other, people here doing what they can to support. I think seeing the support and the respect that people still had for the Muslims in that area was another thing that solidified my faith and made me want to revert.
Mm. What did that support look like to you? Like the support of Muslims here that stood up for Gaza. What was that? Was it like the the protests or like social media activism?
Most of it that I saw was the social media stuff,
Mm.
activism. I didn't know the word for it, but um, there was also just fundraisers people would have online
Mm.
to support those people, and
Mm.
I did see the protest, but that wasn't really something I was a part of.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think things appeal to different people.
Hmm.
Um, and when you converted, were you on your own? Like, did anybody else around you in your circle convert? Did you meet like other people who were kind of in the same boat, or was it more of like an individual experience you were having?
It was more of an individual experience. I wasn't. I have my roommate from the Naval Academy. We've been roommates since 2018, and
Mm.
he was beside me through all of this and just taking
Mm.
in everything. But he he's Catholic, so he didn't take the shahada with me. But he accepted the Quran when they gifted us a Quran and a prayer mat. He accepted those gifts, but he didn't I guess it didn't resonate with him as much as it did
Mm.
with me. I also spoke with my dad about it, and once I finished the autobiography of Malcolm X, I think it's autobiography, I don't remember. But I
Mm.
finished that book and I called him because my world was shook. And I called him and talked about it. And he told me that it was also something that he was looking into when he was my age. But I
Really?
think he was maybe he was focused on other things, or
Mm.
I'm not sure if his parents would have been as accepting as him and my mom were when I
Mm.
reverted.
Mm. What was their reaction? The reaction of your parents, your family?
They were my brother. He didn't really care. Not that he doesn't care. It was more like whatever you do, I support you. Kind of not care, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And my parents, that was actually their words. They said whatever you do, we'll support you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I'm so thankful that you had that positive reaction.
Yeah, it was
Um,
very positive.
and did they were they like confused at all or like wondering like why or even thinking themselves as like is this a religion we would want to be a part of or it was more of like, okay, you're doing this, it's on your own, but we support you?
Um, they're very interested in learning because there are certain things I tell them I can't do or I can't say just out of respect for the religion. Um, and some of this I have to fact check with people that are practicing Muslims because I've only been doing this for a few years and I just don't know how strict certain things are. Like,
Mm.
like my birthday was 3 days ago, and
Oh, happy birthday!
thank you. And my mom was explaining to me that your birthday isn't just about you; it's a milestone for me as well. The things I went through and all of
Mm.
that. So I was trying to explain to her. I forgot what I was. I think it might have been a video I was watching, and they were
Mm.
explaining how uh, it's haram to celebrate your birthday, and
Mm.
I just watched that video because I watched it around Christmas time because people were telling
Mm.
me Merry Christmas, and I didn't know if it was right for me to say Merry Christmas back.
Mm.
So I got in a binge of watching all these videos about celebrations and holidays. So
Mm.
I was trying to explain to my mom all the videos that I just watched, and she was disappointed. I could see she was disappointed. She didn't say she was,
Mm.
but she, even when she called me on my birthday, she said, "I know you don't celebrate this day, but it's still a very special day to me." But then I had just finished talking to one of my friends, and they said, "Oh yeah, we celebrate birthdays. We know it's haram, but we keep it. We don't publicize it. We don't do it in public. We just do it within the family, something like that." And I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
okay. Then I'll tell my mom that. I'll tell my mom." And she was very
Yeah.
happy. She was very happy about that. So little
Oh,
stuff
cool.
like that I'm still learning,
Yeah.
and I have to teach them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think there's also like a lot of differences of opinion.
Mhm.
And the nice thing is that like God knows your intention.
Mhm.
He knows that like, sometimes your intention is just like you don't want to cause pain to the people you love. You want to do right by him, but like there's a lot of things. But there are a lot of differences of opinion. Like my family all considers like birthdays, they're fine, they're normal. They're days that you were
Yeah.
born and like we say happy birthday and eat cake.
Yeah.
Um yeah. And so I think like you see variety in different families and in
Mhm.
different perspectives. And at the end of the day, like God is the most merciful, and we're all making mistakes every
Right.
second of the day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I was gonna ask you, from your perspective, having reverted, what do you think the Muslim community can do better to help reverts in this process? Because in the past 2 years, alhamdulillah, we've seen a huge wave of conversions to Islam in the United States. Um, Influenced by many factors, but a lot of people are sharing what you're saying, that like Gaza played a role in awakening their consciousness that
Mhm.
like that life is short and there is like meaning that we want to find to it.
Mhm.
So my point is that there's a lot of people embracing the faith, and inshallah more and more will embrace the faith. What do you think can help the process of conversion? What can help reverts? What can help people interested in Islam make this process a little bit easier on them?
Um, I'm not sure about how to attract people to the religion. I think it's more of a personal thing, and I saw that through my friend Dennis, my roommate for a long time. He was he was there with me, but he just wasn't interested, and I'm not sure
Mm.
what it would take for him to be interested. But
Mm-mm.
to speak to how to make the process easier, um, if there were some type of, I want to say book, but when I say that,
Mm.
I just think, why not just read the Quran? But that just seems like such a big step.
Right.
But
And the Quran doesn't have a lot of rituals as well. Like, it has stories and it has prophecies, but also like for example, how to pray. The Quran doesn't tell you how to pray, or like certain things that you need to do as like a, as a Muslim. So I definitely think that we need to do a better job of having these resources available in a platform that like is trusted, because like you're saying, like there's a lot of misinformation everywhere. um yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some type of book that just lays everything out and explains that explains kind of what you just said about how everyone has their opinion on how they do certain things like birthdays, because there's a lot of those little things. I can't think of all of them right now, but
Yeah.
there's been a few times where something like that has come up and I was just didn't know what to do. And I've also seen in the videos I watched, there was a prayer mat that had the transliteration of the prayer in Arabic and then the motions of what to do. I thought that was very helpful, because even now I watch a video on YouTube whenever I pray, just so I don't mess anything up, because I see it as something very sacred. Like I'm speaking to Allah, so I don't want to mess it up. Um, Even when I would do wudu, I would watch a video on YouTube every time because I didn't want to mess that up either. Um,
I love that. May Allah reward you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. So yeah,
No,
those two things, something that just makes it easy to follow.
did you feel like you had a mentor in the process, or like somebody that kind of helped guide you, or it was just like random brothers, telling you XYZ?
I had I had a mentor. I could ask him questions and things like that, but I felt that it was something that I had to learn on my own. Um, I just felt like I had to. I felt like it was a process that only I could. Only I could. I knew I could ask him. I don't know. I just didn't want to. I don't know. I'm not sure why.
What? Yeah, no, I think it is. It's a lot. It's like it's overwhelming. It's a lot to learn. And then yeah, sometimes you just don't want to burden the other person, or you don't want to, make them feel any type of way. Um, but at the same time, I think that everyone can tell you, like everybody would tell you, like this is like we're all getting good deeds to help each other out. So it's like an opportunity to do good. Um, what do you feel like? What were some of the biggest challenges that you went through post conversion?
It was definitely following all of the rules, all of the new rules, I guess, or just following the rules, the same rules that were even in Christianity, but for some reason in Islam they just mean more. And the way that it was described to me is that I'm still a baby in Islam and I need time to grow. And they describe that when the Quran was being revealed with all of the restrictions, I guess, that if Allah had just given all of the restrictions right at the front, that no one would accept it. So taking everything a step at a time, and it's become a lot easier, to be honest. It's just a part of my regular life. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Oh, I love to hear that. Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, like I think alcohol wasn't forbidden until like I don't know, a few years into like the message, because like you said, like it's difficult to change people's habits overnight. Like it
Mm-hmm.
takes a long time, and it's very discouraging when you put in so many rules that are like very difficult to meet right away.
Right.
But uh but again, like God is the most merciful, and he's like looking at us and comparing us to ourselves and not comparing us to anybody else, and he
Mm-hmm.
knows the progress we are making. So I love that for you.
Thank you.
uh those are kind of generally my questions. Did you feel like you wanted to share something that you didn't get the chance to, something that's like pivotal to your story?
Since I'm very new to Islam, I don't think I've been through the most transformative part. One, the thing that I think will be the most transformative is when I get married and have children with my wife. Because I just think about it a lot, and thinking about all of the things that I need to prepare myself for, the person I need to become to do all of that. I think that would be the most transformative part, and I haven't reached that yet. So that would be when I go through that.
Inshallah, may Allah make it easy on you and grant you the best partner who brings you peace and who you guys have mercy and love with each other for. I love that. Okay, thank you so much, Clayton. I'm so thankful to talk to you, somebody
Yes.
from Memphis, doing big things. I pray that you find the best job for you and something that's fulfilling, makes you feel like you're doing something purposeful.
Yes, thank you. Good luck.
Of course.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for meeting last minute. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
Take care.
Bye
All
bye.
right, go.